everyone, and welcome to the Wednesday preview. James Broadhurst with you, and joining me, as he always does, is the Regal race caller himself, Hayden King. Hayden, are you looking forward to another big weekend of chasing?
As ever, James, really looking forward to a couple of races we're about to look at on the Saturday, and even there's a Friday race we've plucked out, and it's an intriguing battle, so really looking forward to it.
Alright, good stuff. Why don't we get straight into it, starting with the racing on Saturday night at Cannington, and we'll kick off with the Grade 5 Series final, Hayden, and we saw a big win from Beach Ridge during the heats last week. He returned after nearly 2 months off and looked super sharp, didn't he? That was a really big win from this greyhound. Of course, has spent a fair bit of time away from the track, has had some problems, but when he's on the track, he just looks something special, doesn't he? He's now won 6 of 8 starts. I spoke with Adam Smith and we'll get his thoughts on the dog in just a moment, but what about the other heat winners here, Hayden? Weston Odie didn't feature in the West Chase final a few weeks back, but since then has gone back-to-back. And another dog that's also gone back-to-back in recent times, Catchu. And that win last week was pretty impressive as well. I thought resisted pressure from Flashing Cooner throughout the run. Of the others in this one, I think No Limit Needed and Columbus Manelli can play a role. Flashing Cooner gets box 1 here, has been thereabouts of late, probably her best, probably over the 600 metres, but likely get a nice run along the rail like she did last week. What do you like in this one, Hayden?
I think the eye is immediately drawn toward the centre. We've got those two up-and-coming dogs in Beach Ridge and Weston Odie. They do look a tier above the rest, in my opinion. There are plenty of very, very handy dogs, but on current form, Weston Odie and Beach Ridge are the ones that can run 29.80 or better. Beach Ridge has the inside of Weston Odie. Can he hold that position into the first turn? I think he can. He can run a 5.40 something to the post.
Not electric early though. He does take a stride or two to get going.
He does take a couple of bounds to get going. Weston Odie really can zip, so there could be that pressure coming from him in those initial strides. I do think, though, that Beach Ridge will be able to get past the two to his inside, which will help his cause. He should get a bit of room with Flashing Cooner and Columbus Manelli, two not notably fast beginners drawn to his inside. So I think he can muster up, do enough to lead, and he should be the one to beat. Weston Odie, definitely the most likely challenger. Of the rest, Flashing Cooner, I really like the application of this dog recently. She's been trying very hard, and she's only just failed her last couple. Gets the inside draw. She'll be close up and running home. Columbus Manelli does need that bit of luck in his races. We know his running style. No Limit Needed began quickly last week. Would have to begin quicker again to lead the inside two, though, because they're pretty sharp, and it's going to be a tough ask from that position. Supercharge will be getting home, as he invariably does. Catchu was good last week, had the measure of Flashing Cooner. We see in the betting this week that Flashing Cooner is actually a shorter price, only marginally than Catchu. That would be box draw related, yeah, because Catchu was the superior performance on the night, and Carla Catup's going to find it difficult from out there, but is racing well and did do a good job behind Weston Odie, although outclassed by that runner ultimately last week. It's going to be a good battle between these two up-and-coming chasers, I think, but I think Beach Ridge gets the nod.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that one, Hayden. Beach Ridge, exciting greyhound. Just want to see more of him out on the track. I did happen to catch up with trainer Adam Smithson about the greyhound. We spoke about the win last week and what's in store for this greyhound.
It was good to get him back. He'd been trialling well, but when they're trialling good, you always want them to go around in a field and just not get knocked about. So no, he got the job done.
Lightly raced greyhound, had a few problems. You feel like you've got on top of those problems now, or is he just going to be one of those dogs which requires a bit of extra maintenance?
Well, I think we're hoping with the time we put into him, giving him a break, it's sort of given his body a bit of time to get used to racing, and he's shown us in his trials and that race start that he's pulling up well. He's pulling up a lot better each run he has, so hopefully we've got him. It's all up to him now. He's done it coming through the grades, so he's shown us he's a fast enough dog, and he's flown up the grades pretty quick. So he's done it in maidens and novices, but now it's up to him to show us that he can do it in the top grade.
What about this race on Saturday, box 3?
Yeah, it's a lot the same as the heat last week. We're relying on him just getting clear the first 10-15 metres. That's where he's most vulnerable, but if he can come out running and hold his spot, I'm hoping he can shoot away and put a break on them.
While I've got you, Honestly 2 in the free-to-all on Friday night. Small field, that'll help, won't it?
Yeah, I think so. She's just been bashed about lately with box draw. She's been drawing in close and she tends to want a bit of room out the lid. So we just dropped her back to a provincial race, hoping to sort of get a bit more room early with a smaller field, or just really relying on her not getting knocked about. She came here with not a lot of expectation, to be honest, just to see how she went. And yeah, she came out and she put a few super runs in, won a few in a row, and she's running good time as well. So we just need to keep her confidence up, and I think she'll be very handy.
Well, another race we like the look of on Saturday is race 8. This is the choicechem.com.au Grade 5 over the 520 metre journey. And Belmac Blazer out of box 3 here is the in-form dog in the field for trainer Shane Williams. She's had a top 3 finish from her past 12 starts, including 6 wins, 5 wins from her past 7, including in her past 2 starts. She's been clocking very consistently around that 29.90 30-second mark. That sort of time can certainly win this race. She's at her best when she's out in front, we know that. But let's have a look at her from 3 starts back when she didn't lead. She's in the black and white here, and she's just slightly off at box rise and gets jammed up in the pack. Now, she doesn't go on to win this one, but why are we looking at it? Because I love the persistence she shows here. Once she's through that first turn, she does get some clear air in the back straight and is able to push up on a Rockanui and Power of Molly. Belmac Blazer gives spirited pursuit. She quickly gains lengths on the pair in front of her, and she's very strong in the run home to grab second place and finish only a length off the winner there. Showed that because wanted to show everyone the different dimensions she's got. She's not just a leading type, although that is obviously where she's at her best. What do you think about Belmac Blazer before we get into the other dogs in this field?
She's a nice dog. She won last night and she didn't lead. She sat second and eventually took the lead going by the 600s and bounded away for a comfortable success. She was $1.16, anticipated that she would be victorious, but she came through it with flying colours and did what she had to. She's a very nice dog. She continues to do a big job, and she's oh so consistent, which is one of those things that's not easy to get in greyhound racing. So that's admirable and a real credit to her.
Favourite for this?
No, Disco Daisy will be favourite.
Okay.
Drawn the inside, gets an opportunity. She's got early speed, likely leader. I think she'll hold out Belmac Blazer. There's not a heap of early pace in the race anyway, and Disco Daisy is pretty quick. I think her midsection's not overly strong, Disco Daisy. I think she does her best work definitely into that first turn, and she will be hard to beat, but it's a pretty tricky race for mine. Bang hasn't found his best in his recent starts. He did win going back a handful of runs ago over the 380, but we haven't seen the best of him in WA. Belmac Blazer we've touched on. Fearless Max is going well, is coming back from the 600 and was successful last time out. Shazani has been in top form, but will be looking for longer, you'd expect. I just struggle to see how he really gets involved over the 520 metres. He's had 3 runs in WA and they've all been over 715, so this might spark him up for future contests, but I fail to see how he's going to work into it. Fava Manelli is the big class dropper coming out of free-for-all, but it's going to be really tough from out there. And I don't think she's at her best. She has been freshened up, so we could see that improvement. Stimulus will find it tough from out there, and Dandelup Jasper likewise. They're going okay, those 2 dogs, but it's going to be difficult from those draws, particularly when they've got so much room and so many greyhounds to their inside to try to navigate. So I do think Disco Daisy will be favourite. I don't think she's a certain winner by any stretch, but she'll go off the popular elect.
Yeah, Fava Manelli you mentioned there. I think probably the dog that has the most improvement in them.
Well,
except we don't know where she's at the moment.
She's the best dog on her top form. Her top form wins this every time. So yeah, it's just a case of getting her back to her best. So she has, as I mentioned, had that absence between the 2 runs, and maybe that'll bring some renewed life back into her.
But you're right, Disco Daisy from the pole here can do some damage early. Just of late, just been slightly off. Of course, had that winning sequence prior to that, but a draw like this and a week off to freshen up might be able to turn her fortunes around. I don't know. I talked a lot about Belmac Blazer at the start here. I might stick with that dog for this one. Just go with the form. The dog, hasn't really done anything wrong, so
yeah, sure,
can stick with it. All right, those are the races we like on Saturday night. Let's swing our attention to a Friday night, and let's have a look at race 7. And Tweak Freak looms very prominently in this contest, in my opinion, at least. Of course, has won her past 2 starts. Now, that has been over the 380-metre journey, Hayden. She is airborne out of the traps. The problem with her is at the other end of the race, because the 500 certainly does stretch her. Now, questions for you. Do you concede that she leads this one from box 2, and if she does, is there a dog in this race that can catch her?
Yes and yes.
Okay.
I think she will lead.
Yep.
And I think if Weston Booney's bang there on her tail, he'll go past her.
Booney!
And even Navy Blue Buzz is a strong dog that's been doing some good work over the 600. So I think she is the most likely leader of the race if she gets the start right, like she did on Sunday here over the 380. She began beautifully, and the race was over after 2 strides. So she has that early pace which wins races. However, there are a couple of threats. Navy Blue Buzz has been excellent recently, won those 2 races, and then, well, even in spite of getting some interference in those races, was still able to win. And then last time out, got into a fair bit of bother there and eventually manufactured his way into second place behind It's a Dime. So that was a really creditable performance, I feel, and if he positions up close, he'll be flying home. The other one I touched on, Weston Booney, I think if he's able to get across from box number 8 on the back of Tweak Freak, then he'll be winning. I think he's the best dog in this race over the 520 metres. He was able to win that feature, the West Chase, 3 starts ago, 2 starts ago, came back to Wednesday Grade, had 0 luck, and then last time out he was dynamite. He was able to put them away down the back straight, streaked away in effortless fashion to score. So I think he's the one to beat. Others in the race, Outmax has been doing a really good job over the 600, was able to win 2 starts ago. Ether Manelli and Shadow Manelli, they bring the northern form. They probably do need to lift. Of the 2, I'd probably lean to Shadow Manelli. Argyle Queen has really graduated quite quickly, has won 3 of her last 4, and she's done it in really good style. She can do it from the front. Even last time she came from just off the pace and was able to salute there, but it's going to be a big step up again to be taking out a race like this out of novice grade. It's very difficult to string together a couple of successive wins, and Wise Marino out there in box number 7 as well is going fairly and can find the line. But I do think that Weston Booney's going to be the one to beat, providing he does everything right. If not, then it
Box
probably
8.
Sets up between the one of the 2.
Box 8, Weston Booney.
I think it's okay because you don't have to worry about him getting any pressure from the outside. Just need to worry about holding your line into that first turn, and providing he does that, he gets a clear run, and I think he'll be too good.
All right, Weston Booney for you in race 7 at Cannington on Friday night. We're also racing at Cannington tonight. Free entry, of course, as it is every night here at Greyhounds WA. We've got 12 races, first at 6:28. Have you got a best for us tonight, Hayden?
Yes, race 2, number 1, Sneaky George. This dog was able to score a few runs back and did a strong job there coming from behind, and showed he was able to rail up as well in the process of achieving that victory. Tonight, over the 380 metres, just needs to balance up close enough. Is not overly quick out of the boxes, Sneaky George, but provided he gets that room and he can build up momentum, he'll be very hard to hold out late. His last couple of efforts have been quite good as well, despite getting into some trouble, and I don't think he runs a strong 520. That was shown last start when he hit the lead mid-race, and he just began to falter late and sacrifice the lead back there. But back to 380 metres, he'll be very strong and he'll be hard to beat. Race 2, number 1.
All right, I'm heading towards race 4, number 2, Hippie Trail. This is in the maiden. Hippie Trail coming back from a break of prior to that had finished runner-up 3 times in a row, knocking on the door. Just hoping he's come back a little bit more mature, a touch more stronger, and ready to break through here tonight at Cannington. Race 4, number 2, Hippie Trail for me. And Hayden, that is the show.
We made it.
We did. We got through. Glad you joined us for it. Hope to see you at the track, and if not, we'll catch you next week on the Wednesday preview.